내가 찾아다 다 제가 마오기 시작 탐지 징에난 두기리 있어. 다 이제 송래. 송윤데 갈라 징아들라 가르자 거르잖아. 나와주기지 또 섬기지 콜섬 중기지 덴바마이면 뒤제기지 니마기지 지세대지 징아데 때자래. 뒤에도 또다 주기지들라 앞에 남자 파 땐도나 망부 잡아래. 주들라 치주도 나주 니제 대가라 뭔가 넘버 이제 많이 비수당 숨지 다들 치주들라 니페 장가 망부 차래. 치주들라 주 캠체 다이 캠체 티 캠체 저 캠체네 다 주이켄젤라 나가니 쉬어래 말하지 나가니 쉬지 우주남니다 남이죠. 단에 나밖에 데케젤라 게 어르케젤라 뚜 어르네는 디켄젤라 지. 야 레지케젤라 주지제는 도스제는 용고하래. 다때 지리가라 대소강가 우주캠 주 밖에 치중화들라 장가 빼망고 차래. 다때선 뒤인도나 치중에는 반뒤 치중나라. 아니 왕봉아지 다 계산 왕봉아들라 미고왕보 나요모 네오모 제오모 루고왕보 아치데 아니 계산다 이 라야말 말도 다 자와 지짐도 왕보들라 덴지기 왕보 틀라버래 즉 미시기 미루 통진도 제시기 로 용진도 루시기 레자 용진도 나시기 다 퇴진도 디지 자와 지짐비 답하기 왕보들라 덴지기 왕보 라래 덴기 브렉 미시기 덴제 제니 미실라 미시 코라파기 율디 농 낭투부어와 낭와다니 퇴발라 테 두인자 덴지 덴데 제바 인자 덴지기 왕보세 다 니로베 갑긴 왕보데 왕보선 지단의 주르야 니로베 왕보데 미시기 덴르데 이나양 때디 미시기 자와 맞아 인사 코 덴충 바르tamre 마도 덴제베 왕보 말해 주송래 와다디 디인디가라 직 바게 세바이나 직 왕베 덴제 되가라 세바 라룬도야 왕베 덴 마지 가기 세바데 세바도서 탄도 그래 텔레텔레 네베 직 바게 그래서 남님 관련도서 어때 집에 직장에 세바타가 안 보용 거라 어때 되나니 시기 세바데 텔레 차차요 어때 된데 개발에 연구하라 어때 돼서 삼당 거래 맞아 오늘 왕배 자와 제진도 이긴 남세대 이왕기 자와 제진도 이긴 남세대 아락바랑 이왕기 땐 마제베 이시대 타보인과 가르 다때 삼로당 거래 삼로당 귀된자 녹스제대 디제베나 아니 셈나 아 다때 오늘 즉 고기진도 산대 삼로지다이나 아니 다 오늘 셈싱인데 코파기 딩노에 관한 덴데기 타라기 개발지 뚝뚝이야나 아니 오검탑기 셈 하자 파기 수두 라바트서 까양도 갈라 아니 셈 세리게 제 코란라 파기 생이 제가 냠자연도 갈라 냠라자연도 갈라 가로지니 아니 빼 겨울무치기 파기 뭐셔봐 야보텐데기 냠렘바 야보텐데기 아니 파기 단내 나와대 까연디 셈 코란 세서 용상 리점지 딘지 로라 차례 용도 디인데 차게 톱지라 nepakpagune 데베 템바데 용에 마오바는 중글기 템바데네 모시기 또 둘리 깨용에 된디 두고 송도와 어떻게 거니 즉 맨나다 돼서 냠렘부터 된디 용 시게 말와 어떻게 된디 용아 만다지 레비와다 게지게다 말해 어떻게 돼서 뭔가 지시해 버렸어 우주코랑라 인디르와 다는 남게 다는 밖에 주니 슈들라 주들라 이따 가다 인디르와 입주게래 아니 가도라 자외 가도지다 연락 가도 geji nishu de tezola dala zunam ni da nam ni chun dani nam ge dana ba ge ti number shi ro number 2 reje juji tezo kang da chizu ngai nan du ro re kesan tezo reje ni kesan da singi de tezo kang labiya mar de tangka ma do ani jamba yang kala chenan labiya mar do ko tende re labindana tisu mamu ka do sara Ugana lamna chokres. Kesa kagendi na. Tonyere na kaya marna.
Good. Some of the important points that we covered last Sunday class. The first one is all objects of knowledge included within the 5 basic categories. If you have a book, that's on page 181. So we categorize form into external, internal, and uncompounded phenomena, or non-compositional. Let me see. Compositional factors not associated. This is also in the book actually. So kind of 3 big categories of the form, and then when you categorize more detail, it can categorize into 20, and then. The form itself has 80 subcategories. When you 20. Sound 8, smell 4, taste 6, and then tangibility or tangible 11. And for the 5, senses, sense organ, we have, this is also in your book, from eye, ear, nose, tongue, body sense. And we didn't mention this, but the sensual organ can be also categorized into 2 based on whether that sensual organ is serving as a basis for the consciousness or not. So, for example, when eye sense organ is functioning, with the eye consciousness, and that is considered as the organ, sensual organ with the sensual organ with foundation or basis. And then there are other cases where the sense organ is there, but the consciousness is not kind of at the manifested level. It's like timing where we sleep, the sleeping time. The eye organ is there, but it's not functioning as like a waking time. And so they also mentioned about the different levels of the consciousness. So consciousness, when it is functioning with the sensual organ, it's considered as the gross level. As as kind of the involvement of the sensual organs decreases, the consciousness gets becomes much subtler and subtler. And so when we look at this kind of process, at the time of dying, the consciousness is considered as the most kind of subtlest period. So it should be kind of helpful if you spend time thinking about why consciousness is considered as a gross level when it is based on sensual organ, and why it is considered as a subtle when it is not based upon sensory organ, and of course there should be reason behind it. If you spend more time kind of examining, investigating, analysis why this is so, then it will kind of make you understand, why this is so. So the practitioners, what they does is through their practice they try to, decrease the level of the generation of gross level of consciousness, and then they kind of try to go closer or try to generate subtle consciousness. And then when they do that, as they practice, improve or develop, they will reach to the point where they can experience merely the nature of the mind itself. It's like illuminatory. Or just knowing, they can experience, point where they, knows experiential that, it is just a mind. It's just a mind. Consciousness is nothing other than that. So at that level, then practitioners, can sometimes remember their past events or past lives, and then they can also sometimes have the ability of prophecy, and so these are the experiential achievement, and achieved through kind of experiences. And these exist. Therefore, practitioners can experience. So these are, sort of. So His Holiness mentioned about this. During many teachings, he mentioned often about this. Kind of consciousness getting subtle and then able to, remember past. And this kind of experience, happens with several of friends of His Holiness. The monks who stays at retreat, they have this kind of experiences.
다 지수 장가 먹어요. 누나 장강이나는 파디. 나서도 왕봉가나는 파디. 주스 자송. 대가나 남바리제 마인데 수잖아 주지 있다. 누나 같이 주지지. 주지대는 지수 당나수 니제 대가라 남바리제 마인데 수는 숨나 봐. 두초레스. 대마드는 주그라는 두초레스. 파파바 대잖아. 주 짱짱 토로 그래스. 다 남바리제 마인데 수인데 간데지레스 대가라. 남바리제 마인데 수들라 숨치겨래. 보내잖아. 제가 말그 투모마이 제라마와다 탱기바 니게 들고 알아. 제가 남바라지 마인비 수수는 되는데 제라마와다 탱기와 니마도 이제 남베 투다신 다긴 들고 말이지. 아 제라마비 남바라지 마인비 수라 게미게 루마텐 숨샤쳐 그래. 게와테서 돈바테서 샤쳐 그래. 더민테도 직제. 아니 루마텐 직제. 숨뚝 수용 거래. 다 돈바 소다르게 돈바리 옛 남바리제 베수레 도민 시데라 다 직마라조 바바 셴바이나 부구더라 라징기 도민 톱도 그래 어다 직파기 마라조다 뉴몽 파기 갈소다 저방아 바간데지 디체베이나 저방아 바제데기 켈렘바네 존데 도민 톱 그래 어다다 Then, Mamin Zulzamgi, that's so jaggy, the mean, Kashigata Mataviare. But that is Ukanga, the mean Kesukangani, Nambari Jesures, Sunguare. But that Lumatenda, you are walking, Gamma, Kayama Ingijani, Keninjavina, Chick Lumatede, those chins, Sumshaka, Nambari Jamaimbeso. In this subject, the means in the Pemisva. Maratu Tachi Carsore, Mizindina la, the Minji Gunil de Bayina, the Nigoshi Sadu Goroa. Did?
Dominia.
Domin, Zobamaimba. 바바 셴바이나 부구데 셴바 차로 아니 셴바제 소제 켈림에 있는 때도 민지 통과 되라 아니 다 됐나 진
바바 셴바는 보고 셴바 차도 그랬어.
부구 셴바 너민 톱로 거라 진 유기군 톱이야 켈링군의 톱로야 근데 용거
when we summarize, kind of bring all, the forms, as said before, we can categorize into three: external, internal, and then third one is the third one, non-perceiving form. I don't know. I have used this term before, not, but this one, the Tibetan Buddhist number Rikshya Mayimba means, literally it would be Rikshya means perceiving. So Mimba means non-perceiving form. But so under this includes kind of three form. The first one is Geshe said, all kinds of vows deposit. 당보도 돈바 기회 돈바.
뭔가 기회 돈바도 저래서. 아치 파게 소달게 돈바지. 아니 미게 주fon게 돈바지. 아니 김배 돈바 파게 김배 돈바지. 그래서 똑같은 말이지 계속. 다 당규와다 좀더 제가 마음마다 양 진짜 대준데 인도가 말했어. 넘버를 좀 많이 배수 수전된다게.
당규도 싫어.
제가
So this third one, I'm not exactly sure about the translation of the word. Maybe it's in the text already. I'm not sure. Only two schools, the middleware consequence school and the great exposition school, the high school and lower school, they considered the third form as the third type of form as a form. The other school don't consider this as a form. Non-perceiving form or aggregate. So this is, as said before, kind of categorized into three. The first one is the Tibetan word Domba, which literally means vows, and it includes kind of all positive vows here, self-liberation, individual liberation vows, 10 positive, vows. All this comes under the first one. The second one is it's literally would be non-vows, and here Geshe said it refers to kind of for example, if the father
바바 신바이나 부구들 신비도 민데 도용 그래서 켈링 오는 도다 마미도 마미는 줄다가 그 미세야 켈링 거로 하대 도민 도도 그래서
the second is, the second one, non-vow. It kind of, again, since this is under the form, this is a form or aggregate. It, there's two ways that, this particular non-vows can continue from, kind of one person to another, especially when we look at the family. It is considered that if the father is involved in the profession of, kind of butcher or killing, the child can kind of automatically, becomes kind of receive, these non-vows, and this is kind of, based on kind of continuation of lineages. But the other one is like if you, other one is based on kind of acceptance level. This one here refers to if you join, army or soldier, you also accepted, whatever responsibilities that comes with, this title, including kind of taking lives or, so this is how you receive this, it's non-vows. And third one is kind of neutral, Lungmaden or somebody.
Lungmaden zada gawa mi gawa kaya mai bai. So no matter na do.
So the neutral, under the neutral, as the word says, neither positive nor negative, all comes under this neutral or neutrality or equanimity.
That indeed the gala migawa dipilere kilima genatini domin togare kanche ta domin tonya de gawat kilim barne sonde te docho de gawat kilim na ini domin ton gora yang eso
so the non-vow, when can you not receive this non-vow? Actually, non-vow is the opposite of the vow, and the vow here refers more, kind of a positive, vow. So once you accept it, creating the positive activities or positive vow, then you are no longer, the holder, or you no longer possess this non-vow.
What those che ta nawazugi zero de tsarache de tubache ta nawazugi ji so semgi ji sedela semdela igin number chibat migin number chibani igin number chibat to tu yongura nam shitu oda tiji dem anis khol semjung gi da semjung ngapjung gachi ya ngumba koma chen ngapjung gachi ngumba oman chen na semji bijebu demba mai me dije gi ji sede ta pagi demin dije te jung gora so da demba da so da mel demba en dimaji gi ji de la ni chik nam kha da so so tang go da ta min go ba da ta te su kanga yong gora ase dus chene jingana dus re
this is still on your page 181. The first, actually, it is in the not the actual translation, but the indented paragraph. So what Geshe-la mentioned before about the form is the first paragraph, indented paragraph under the assertion regarding objects. And then five appearing forms, and the second is the main minds, and the main minds, as we said last time, refers to the five consciousness, beginning from eye consciousness to mental consciousness, and then accompanying mental factors. They are true interpretation, the higher school of Abhidharma and the lower school. So according to the higher school of Abhidharma, there are 51 mental factors. This will come more detailed later in the same text. And according to the lower Abhidharma or treatise of knowledge, there are 49 mental factors. And
Yongora so the Lembadang Gugay Yung Kanga Chadiore. So the Mildambas Jichi la Peja de Lavina and single Tandi di Tangi, any Mitapa, Duce, Chevas, Kijit Suta, Mupo in the Gentangi Kijit, so the Mildamindice Chadiore.
And so the first one is appearing form, and second main mind, third accompanying mental factors, compositional mental factors not associated with either minds or mental factors, and this one under that there are two categories, and Geshe-la mentioned this last time too, sort of animate and inanimate, and animate refers to animate, not actually the we mentioned the living force, life force, with life force and without life force, and the without life force refers to the we mentioned the example of singing bowl, mentioning it's a characteristic like impermanence of singing bowl, extra. So then 51 of the five objects of knowledge is uncompounded phenomena. too much issues on there.
디마지 기체당 아니 하게 소소 땅고다 담인 거 봐. 소소 땅고서 되가라 뉴몽 달외 달자대. 담인 거 봐서 돼. 땐 뉴몽 미키어 줘 봐. Kali tosu kya sirwa, kali tosu yores, tos kali jagin nan shi sonam madaji yongris.
What was that category term associated with that person with
That's under compositional factors not associated with either ones or many factors. I'm trying to be easy, so if I find that hard work, then I don't have to think about it.
Gopa.
Under the so Geshe said, many of these concepts might be new to you, and might be difficult at the first kind of time to understand what saying. But as Geshe said before, it needs some kind of effort to try to and later it might help you and make you more easy to understand. So the fifth one, the uncompounded phenomena, is categorized into two. These two are analytical cessation and non-analytical cessation. So tango the tango komba pesong be gishila.
So tango sidikala macho nyumung kuma damasan chilo pipade so tango res. Tadu hagi pete go magya jasana kuma nalo nyinga yorwas. Kuma nalo mia go teni jane tempo chesarni pe nyumu tsani panza maimba teni mikyo adela tamingo bade. Potati chepare tango te kuma chilo pupache go magya bache tamingo bade ko jane ta kuma yomi thueso bade. Teso deshi. Nyumu panza mgi tamingo batokura. Ta tango tokura. Ta pangni larki mirung chujun chebade tamingo bade.
These two, analytical cessation and non-analytical cessation, which is the the category under uncompounded phenomena. The first analytical cessation would be simply abandonment of the defilements of afflictions. So and the second one is the non-analytical cessation is you eliminate it in a such way that the defilements of the affliction has no chance to generate again in your mind stream. And the great master Kunchen Jaban Sheba, he used the example for the first one. It's like kicking out thief or robber from your house. And then second one is so the first one you kicked out, but you didn't lock your door from inside. So there's a chance that he or she might enter again. But the second one is you kicked out and you locked your door. So the second one is kind of complete elimination of the. So these are the two category of. So the example and the meaning, how they use each other should be helpful if you don't forget.
오다도 세다데 징아데 코랑기 따뚜디 망시다 부지 다 딩이긴 되출데 딱게 전부 차고 와라 코랑이라 돈난데 봐 간데실라 돈난데 봐도기 간데실은 군소된 봐도기 했어야 돼 다 돈난데 봐스디가라 파기 좀밤 뢰차체 사와나 랑징기 론도르도 미롱와치라 돈난데 봐지 좀밤 랑징기 론도르도 미롱와나 군소된 봐지 다도 수치네 근데 많이 기층이 되더래 빼자요도가라 방와 당 봄바 토이 좀보나 봄반지 멜론도 그래스 저붐 아니 통화도 벌써 사와나 통화지 멜론도 그래 봄바당 통화라서 봤는데 론도르 녹인지나 고점데 지마주제디가라 콘도르 녹이나 디 군소된 바래스 다 차시 가지 치나 바기 직 딘진 멜로던 도르도 명인지나 뜻돈다는 말이지. 누린 저기 참에 시바까지 참에 다 되게 자용으로 와. 어디 제가 뭐 두무만 말이에요. 또 어때서 개체체의 개체체들이 내가 미제 그던 달 지거마다 돼 쟁게요 말이지. 그거
The third, the type of form that I mentioned before, non-perceiving form. I look at the dictionary and basically same. It says non-revelatory form. So, for instance, it says the vows possessed by a bhikshu while in deep sleep. So this is the the non-revelatory form is the third non-perceiving form that I mentioned before. The next kind of important point that we covered last Sunday is the definition or meaning of the true truth. Conventional truth and ultimate truth. And conventional truth, it's on page 184, a phenomena which is such that when it is broken up or mentally separated into individual parts, the awareness apprehending that object is cancelled. So, example, also in the text like clay pot and rosary, when clay pot is broken and rosary, beads are separated, there is no that mentality of that there is a part in that mentality of identifying a mind is cancelled, and that is the conventional truth. And the ultimate truth is basically kind of the other side, a phenomenon which is such that when it is broken up or mentally separated into individual parts, the consciousness apprehending that object is not cancelled. So it does, the consciousness apprehending that object is still there. It doesn't matter, how much you separate or divide the object. And the example also in the text is the partless, directionally partless particles. Temporarily partless moments of consciousness, and it doesn't matter how much you keep dividing these partless particles and moments of consciousness, but they are still same consciousness and particles, and the mind apprehend kind of same way as it saw it for the first time. And Krishna said he's reviewing this again so that you won't forget these important points. And the another point is what he reviewed, mentioned. There are some of the unique interpretation or unique concept of this school, a Great Exposition School.
훔치진도 근서대 이때는 인신 오서대 저자외나 세포여라 대디 다 겹탱기 파리들이 디 롤린 직 시디 로이나 오 던단데 바 근서대 바 제타마위는 데니진 선들렘상 셀도 그래스 간진 대시 겹쳐게도 자와테네 쭉투고 거래스
and this school, Great Exposition School, they in order to validate the definition of the true truth, they it's also in the text on page 186. They quote from Vasubandhu's Treasury of Manifest Knowledge. And in that, it says, a thing which is such that if broken or mentally separated into others, that is parts, and awareness of it no longer operates, such as a part or water is conventionally existent. And so if you have this, quote memorized, then you can easily understand, these two different definition of ultimate and conventional truth according to this school.
Tati odela sachi zame di yungkoro koi jatamai lula. Ta zache sidigala mi begone mi badang sunde niga gone zabagisu kanu gone zabagisu rona zachi chadere. Mi badang sunde kanu gone zabagisu kansa zabasene nyumosi gora. Mi begone ni bagi yijile mine tela mine eni nyomo kigina 다 잡아차서래 아니 순댕기 거네 아니 고 뉴모끼리나 아니 잡아차서 미바도 순댕 까노 거네 잡아기 손으로 쳐도 자제 미바도 순댕 거는 잡아기 손으로 쳐도 자매 자거 딘두가라 자제나 빵자 인구그레 타제 그래서 소저니데 냠술랑자리데 고 잡아래 पांचारे से कुछ हुआ है जामे दे कर जागो ना थोनम कोना जागो थोनम दे ताते जामे जागो ओदा ती चिक जरा माई थुमो माई बारे के ननी ओमलम ता मिलोबला निला नि पागी न्यामजागी छाकाई बादे जामे ची ये तो किदे जाचे Homlam Jeta Homlam Miloblam Jeta Patigate Zaji Jaguares. So Gomlam the Milonangilla, Zajazami Nini Jaguada, what it is.
The next important point is, it's on page 187, the contaminated and uncontaminated. So the contaminated basically refers to the, contaminated has the same kind of interchangeable meaning with the afflictions here or delusions. So whatever, and in the definition, it says a phenomenon that is amenable to the increase of contamination from the point of view of being either an object of observation or an afflicted concomitant. So it doesn't matter whether, as said in the object of observation, from the point of view of object of observation, whether you are targeting the object directly, and if that object is, generating afflictions, that is contaminated. And also, if that, if the generations of contamination comes from concomitant factors, not, the immediate target, that is also considered as a contaminated. So, contaminated object or things are always considered as something that needs to be eliminated or abundant. So, when we look at the 5 paths, the first 2 paths, the path of accumulation and path of preparation, although these 2 are paths that needs to be adopted and practiced, but they are ultimately considered as the contaminated. They needs to be avoided. And once you reach the 3rd path, the path of seeing, and that path is considered as the path of uncontaminated. And path of first one is path of accumulation, path of then second path of preparation, path of seeing, and next 2 paths, path of meditation and path of no more learning. Both path has has both of this nature, uncontaminated as well as contaminated, path. So according to this school, they categorize, because each of these 2 paths has 2 stages within the one path, that is, meditative equipoise and aftermath. So the meditative equipoise is always considered as uncontaminated, but aftermath, session or period is considered as the contaminated. So again, this kind of contaminated and uncontaminated is a unique interpretation of this school.
Ati odala tisum zetup tundu gore. Tisumga. Ndode benje tisum zetup tundu mare. that is some zetum the Dedigala, Kandis Korangi, David, Nugun David is on here, Mount is on here, Tatavit is on here, Laga. Tati Laya Garzana, Pe Jaguare, Pechila, one Mobun Gurgres, Zain Gurgumarella, Penna Carde Penna, Sergi, Pumba Gine, Yenchazona, Sergin said the Nanchan de Gruas. One Gurgres. What is it? Deputy, Maupiti, Tataviti City, could be going to one Guru, Jagor Mato, Zedit Ranchan de Grace, Mopin de Ranes. They may be young page to Sagore. Pena Pumechila Pambu Chunjungala, Pomosigua, Chansa Maigala. The new Chansa gets her name, any Bugikina Amachagroa. Telebugikina, Momochadora, Jijila, Pomo, Ama, Momos de Mingmara sum Tungdoas. This is Payavumide. They Gurumare, Pumenze Tagarare. One Guru, so to zoom this on the beginning that they pay Mada, Lovin Madagi pay or not, Lovin cheating in the thing me today. What is it? They did the Arande. Insurance Tonanchi, Pagin Stada, Peja, Zendate, Gurdiana, so Yabores.
Next is on page 192, 3 times according to this school, past, present, and future objects. And again, this is their unique interpretation. And they consider, 3 times as substantial entities, substantial entities. And because there's, as said here, they maintain that pod exists even at the time of past of the pod, that pod exists even at the time of the future of the pod. And so what they are saying here is that in all these 3 times, past, future, and present, the nature of the pod or whatever things is changing, but the substantial entity is not changing. It's always there. So they use the example like if you when you have a pot made from gold. And if you, somehow melt that pot and, make jewelry from that, substances, the gold is still there. The gold is still same as it is, in the pot, as is in the jewelry. Basically, and they would use, the nature. So, and also another master used the example of, female. When she's at early young age, she's a daughter, and when she gave birth to children, she's mother, and when her daughter gave to another children, she's a grandmother. So basically, that female has one kind of basis, or it's one substantial entity, and she has all these 3 kind of stages. So this, the 3 kind of labeling, daughter, mother, and grandmother, is given based on the timing, of that, female.
So
they just said, this example is kind of appropriate. Easy to understand, and different masters has used different example in order to understand this concept of substantial entity, kind of always there, but the nature of that object is changing. So we mentioned, 2 masters of this school, Great Exposition School, Lobin Chögyöp, both in Tibetan name Chögyöp and Yangdul. They must be Sanskrit name, but these are the Tibetan names. So, in fact, these are great scholars who kind of hold this view or tenets.
뭐다 두스제다 돼서 배침보제다 아니 제라마오게 다되지 대다 드리마 파 디그니 만도잖아 니바 유쟁인도 줄라 가자 셰바 주지긴다다 숨세 다 유진 시드가라 솔된 인친제데 유진 차려래 가자데 인셰바 유진제 아니 주지긴다 루스규비 유진 진짜잖아 레민주 뉴제스규비 유진 루스규비 유진 셰버규비 유진 잡도 소이 타니잖아 자기를 배자전다나 루스 용그리 어떻게도
다들 숨숨이 소시바 됐어.
단다이나 가자 셰바 주지긴다다 숨라도 야 배자데 배자리지나 루스규비 유진 셰버규비 유진 레민 뉴제스규비 유진 잡데 단데 타니 용그리스 인디가라 타니 만다레 마타 던다지 바레스
We'll go on to the next topic that's on page 196, assertions regarding object possessors or subject. This section has three parts. The first, the Great Exposition School's assertions regarding persons, consciousness, and terms. So, persons, consciousnesses, and terms. These are the terms that is used here, but in other scriptures we will find a different term used for these three. The first one is as form being a subject, and second is consciousness being a subject, and third is non-associated phenomena being a subject. So different kind of a term, but basically refers to this. These three are same here: the person, consciousnesses, and terms.
다지 풍부 힘nga 초베 초바데 가자게 천시 제라마이로라 다 가자게 천이 코나 자연들 다지 풍부함 힘nga라데 답에 nga스데다 근데 고마도도 천시 가자게 천시 천이로 어디 자거래 단디는 천시 코나라 다지 풍부 답변나 다 더바이나 다지 풍부 nga라 따거와 유두 풍부 저러 디시고 number shebe phumbu ngache zume khamza de yorwa ka durpada zukam ni chi bache zume khamla zu yo marwa zukam zume kham cha zu me inda zu ju phumbu yo mare zu ju phumbu me digala choro phumbu dishu number shebe phumbu jila ta benga tu sure jiam nga sewa de mangurdewa khajigi phumbu ngachar kansa ke chenji tangsi suwa pe semji bu kansa ke chenji do dos 제다마이나나 다빠 강사 자탕 만다 용도 왔지. 전지 자탕.
196, the persons. So the first one is the persons. The mere collection of the mental and physical aggregates that are its basis of imputation is an illustration of a person. So this is, how they interpret a person. But when you look at the higher school, they say that simply, the collection of mental and physical aggregates, but on top of that there is they imputed it as person or self. So there's differences between this school and higher school. And when they say the mere collection of mental and physical aggregates that are its basis of imputation is an illustration of person. 풍부가 암실에 디나 돼.
디나 풍부 네 처좀 가자게 천시 자셔도 천시
내가 암실에 디 칼.
중다 공막이 가자게 천일을 된다 그랬어.
So the higher school, the higher school definition of a person is imputation upon the collection of either 5 or 4 aggregates. So either 5 or 4, here refers to for the desire realms. They have 5 aggregates, all 5 aggregates. From the 3 realms, desire realm and form realm, says all 5 aggregates. Beginning from aggregated form, and then form, feeling, perception, compositional factors, and consciousness. So desire and the form realm has all these 5 aggregates, but formless realm doesn't have a form aggregate. So therefore, they're used in the defining either 4 or 5, imputed upon either 5 or 4 or 5 collection of mental and physical aggregates. And some of the 5 Samithya sub-schools assert that all 5 aggregates are an illustration of person. So you can see here within this school, there are sub-schools and they have their own interpretation of what is illustration of a person. And the Avantakas assert that the mind alone is an illustration of a person. So this sub-school, interpret mind itself is the illustration of a person or self.
Nipat semata shibala semata seminiji sema sedigala kandesh jagore semin zina kandesh jagore sartu milibiri pat semitsinire seda ta sematela ngusum semata jiba semani jagore tambola ngusum semata jiba semani 다 무슨 체맛 시디가라 또빠단 잘지 sardu milibiri ba ngonsum semitsengi total tila toba da sardu milibiri ba tila kacho yoro wangoi ingwon ani najong sum tu suja ngdo wa rari khoi keling yo mare yang cheta ma thum mai bare wada tere 다 똑바 시디가라 둔지 규명 유모와지네 바기 율코랑 체바딩도 직 바카르죠 뭔지 미식이 몸부 녀네 아니 내신 제마타도 몸 미시데 뭔지 미시데 몸볼라 사르도 밀루비 바차디요 디케지 니바니 제시를 마다 양체마 말해. 그래서 개발 답에 거기 제마다 재민 개발도 도시 채우고.
Consciousness is page 117 and 197. This section has 2 parts. The consciousness is the second of the 3 of the subjects. The consciousness is this section has 2 parts: assertion regarding prime cognitions and assertions regarding non-prime consciousnesses. Prime cognitions, they are direct prime cognitions and inferential prime cognitions. Sardo maluwa semeri pos semet senyi swing beter chira malu.
밀도 되나?
Mildu.
알레. sardu milibiri ba semet senyi. 내가 말씀 드리고
they are direct prime cognitions and inferential prime cognitions. With regard to direct prime cognitions, they assert sense direct perceptions, mental direct perceptions, and yogic direct perceptions, such as direct cognitions of the Four Noble Truths and their 16 attributes, impermanence, and so forth. They do not accept self-cognition as a direct perception. So we have, we learned this part before at the beginning of, this, self-cognition mind or consciousness. And 똑바로 좀 배기실다. 네.
똑바로 다시 살도 밀리고 무슨 소리 생기래. 니나도 얘기 말해. 무슨 되는 일을 그러긴 되구나 얘기 말해.
Perception, because why I'm kind of not so comfortable is because there are lots of technical terms in here, and this has a different interpretation. There are many different translations. So I see some words translated here, but they don't use this word all the time. So there are some options of word that you might find in other texts. So I'm not exactly sure what word should I be using. So I'm trying to kind of find a word which is most appropriate. Sheba thandarang ri lai de chogu rang ri lai de shebe ki shebal ringe de rosa.
어때? 라리 진남 라리 기승이 잘 왔다. 너데베 인체를 마다야. 제가 마을 라리 코난 거의 killing 말이.
Yeah, that is it. The mind perceiving another mind, or mind perceiving a mind, and the nature of the grasping is the definition of this mind, which might need further explanation, but that is the direct translation. Zin nam is the Tibetan word, which is definition, but it's just one word. So Zin means grasping, and nam is nature of the grasping is considered as this. But
zunam jenri shibetsin, zunam rari shibetsin.
Katakalon sik todo chiklashin di senyilan da dewa jawro sik todo khanagi thanda lebe naman haum sik chik.
다 카프.
So I was just telling Geshe-la, the Tibetan word, Zin Nam, the nature of the grasping or apprehension. I was telling him, I'm not sure whether this word alone can give you understanding of, the meaning of because this is supposed to be the meaning. So you should be understanding from this word, what is the self-cognition. So again, Geshe-la said, since many of you are not familiar with all these kind of technical terms, it might be not easy at the first point kind of understand just through the words.
Exactly, but it's labeled as a cognition. Everything's labeled mind. So mind is a qualifier. So if that was kind of getting to
Self-cognition.
well, they don't accept the mind is mind, but by even labeling it mind, what you're doing is you're making it a conventional term. So it's not an ultimate term.
Rangri lai de khalo da murang kono do tan sa de rangri lai de sem de thong de zambal yan rangri de kharjin rangri khandes rangri re la ga sa khanda dil ne gen na pejin murang thok
근데 제가 마에 대 롤러 치다 그 killing 거 말했어. 세상에 빼지 잡서서. 세고 담아지 랭음베글잖아. 딱 세고 담아 거란 뭐 음베 카도도 빼디 제발 지메도 차고도 와서. 어때 세바지게 세바 용진기 가라 딘디는 용거래서.
And
나 조나미나 율 파긴 이어봤다. 파긴 이어배 몸보 파긴 동거로 봐. 12 중요도 갈라 실고 담아지 랭음베 갈라 자나 다디 실고기 카도 된디리 디레기 카도 된디리 제체투니다.
So Geshe said, he mentioned this example before because this particular school does not sort of understand, this self-cognition. So therefore, they don't kind of accept this, self-cognition. And the example he mentioned before was if you put, glass on top of the blue linen, and when you look through the glass, it is hard to kind of differentiate, kind of glass from the blueness of the linen. When you look through, it's transparent and it's not easy like understanding the nature of the object by subject or by mind. So when consciousness or mind, try to comprehend what object is, the external object or form, they are out there, totally separate from the consciousness. So consciousness has no difficulty in kind of understanding that there's object out there. But for this school, the difficulty is when another consciousness is looking at, the same consciousness from the behind, then it is hard for them to kind of understand, because it's, as said before, it's not easy as object there and subject here. So it is kind of self-cognition is consciousness is the subject, consciousness is the object. So they are basically two consciousness, kind of one after another. And the Tibetan word is rangli, it means self, perception. Basically, self is consciousness, and the perceiver is also consciousness. Two consciousness sort of line up, You have a question?
Is that like the same concept as being able to see the glass of a mirror through the reflection?
시고기 갈로디 숭예 철부도 어디도 직보로서 상리.
Shego Zunyan Katis.
You're just asking, can you
Melongis, Shego Zig, Shego Tama, regular Jadu, Shego de Lagi.
they love melong shigo patos and 숭예 차례쇼로.
Tendra Melong Zunyan Charadel Pejagamido. Shego Tama, regular Jashana, that Regin Don Diri, Shogun Don Diri, Chetumido.
Gajana said he's not exactly sure about that. And the example, mentioned before was when you put, transparent glass on the, linen, then it is hard to kind of totally separate. This is the color of the glass and this is the color of the, that linen. It looks like kind of, both exist.
Shego Kurambagi Ringumbin Randas Gutara.
Because that, glass on top of the linen somehow looks like it is kind of transformed into, the blueness of the color of the linen. So the color, the color of the glass and the color of the linen, it's hard to kind of separate.
Jashabi Nekaptakan, Chitumarwa. That finish another Nizukagarwayam.
So, especially at the moment when, you place that, glass on the linen, blue linen, and, but if you, physically, take it separate, then you can say this is the color of the glass and this is the linen color. So, but when you, add one and another, it's kind of, difficult to kind of differentiate.
Zagomada.
Yeah, we'll take a break.